Hey y'all! I'm Rebecca Winstead, the main protagonist of the animated series Defenders of Alodia. And what is Defenders of Alodia, you might ask? Well,
Well, it looks like there is a new and exciting animated series that's going to be coming up. However, they will need your help in order to really bring this to life. And let me tell you, just from the clips that I've seen, it is very promising. But in order to really help things out with this show, I actually do have one of the creators with me. Hallie, would you like to introduce yourself?
So I'm Hallie. I'm one of the creators and directors on Defenders of Alodia, as well as a bunch of other animated series sort of in production or in pre-production or in one of those two or both. I'm also the creator founder of Bullbird Studios, which is the production slash basically like it basically like creates the shows from scratch company Bullbird Studios. And it's for a bunch of different series that we have going on, including Defenders of Alodia, which we are producing. And I am based in New York City. I live in Manhattan currently. I have a really big family. I've always been absolutely obsessed with animation. I I swear, I even had like a year of my life when I was like so obsessed with animation that everything felt like animated to me in like the real world. Like my whole worldview is basically about animation, I think. And I love it so much. I think it's like the greatest thing ever. So that's why I am doing this. I want to make all of these series come to life. Series. But so I'm a college student. I currently go to Purchase, which is in upstate New York. I actually had to take a gap year because the studio was like getting so intense. So I had to take a gap year to leave school for a bit to see if like I can pursue this and actually make this happen. And I will be going back to school in the spring, and that'll be fun. I go for so I'm a double major in playwriting, screenwriting. So I'm super interested in film outside of animation as well as plays and theater. I love theater. It's my dream probably to go to the Yale Playwrights Academy when I'm older, when I graduate. And I also am double majored in arts management, which is sort of like a business thing. And then I'm minoring in film. So like a bunch of different interests I have. I'm basically obsessed with everything in the arts. I really do love theater, film, animation, everything to do with it. I really want to become like I want to become a successful female director as well. Like I want to become like a producer who's also a girl, which is not, there's not as many as we need. But yeah, that's basically about me. And I have two little brothers who also love animation. They love Clone Wars. I love Clone Wars. Everyone loves Clone Wars. And I love basically everything animated ever made. So yeah. Hello.
It's very interesting that you do mention that you already got so much happening, that you're a college student, but also that you run your own animation studio with Boldbird. Can you tell us how it is so far handling your own animation studio, and what are some of the responsibilities, and how are things going as an animation studio owner like yourself?
Yeah. So it basically started only like a couple months ago, like around 4 months ago. Which is crazy because so much has happened since then. But it sort of started by my sort of frustration about the animation industry and how difficult it is to actually get things made, and like how basically animation is the hardest thing to basically do. Like film, you could just press on a camera, you have everything you need, but for animation you really need like an incredible team and like everything to make it happen. And it's so difficult that the only really way to make it happen is to go to corporate companies and try to get your thing in like Cartoon Network, which but anything that basically can help you get that team that can make the story come to life. And then you end up losing ownership and you lose creative rights. And I was just very interested in making like me and my friends and me and just like other creative people's stories like actually happen. Like I want to make a focus on all of our stories have like at least like the main cast has like tons of female characters, has tons of diversity, which I feel like it is slowly starting to happen in different production companies, animation production companies. But it's not enough, and I just want to make sure that everything we make like is really good for representation, represents a bunch of people who are not always represented in animation or aren't ever represented in animation. So that was sort of my goal, and also to make it easier to get your thing produced. And I want the studio, even though it's basically run by college students who are also doing their college work, or like they're beginning their career, like they just got out of college. Then maybe there's some people who are in their 30s who are working on it, who are like just sort of in the animation industry but not fully, and they really want to get into it. Or there's even like some like freshmen in college, or people just not even in college yet, who want to basically go into the industry and like go into a place where it's not so stressful, and where I really wanted it to be a not stressful place, like where everyone's ideas are sort of understood and everyone, it's sort of like more of a collaboration than a studio. But I do intend for it to become a legitimate animation studio in the future. Obviously that would be in a couple years once we've sort of been established, but it's only been 4 months, and it's pretty crazy. I wake up to just like hundreds of messages, working on so many different stories. I mean, I'm also like the creator or director on all of them. Either like I'm working as in a management or like organizational slash creative storytelling thing on all of them. So it's pretty much all day just answering questions, doing work, figuring out stories, like talking to people all day in like meetings. I sometimes honestly take like days before I sleep because it's so much work. And I luckily for a while it was basically just me running it. And it really was a lot. You like it's hard to explain what it is, but it's honestly the most rewarding thing ever. It feels like you're just making like magic, like you're making magic happen. It's like you're creating life out of nothing, and then like people's characters actually get to move, and it's just like so, it just fills my heart. I just love it so much. And so I also a bunch of the main people from the studio, like from the beginning, they've actually they also get to have their story done by us. So a bunch of the other projects are by people that have joined the studio, and they show their dedication to it, and then you basically can pitch to the studio, and if it's good enough, and usually we try to only accept pitches of like the best of the best stuff that like honestly like big companies would be would be really lucky to get because they're so good, in my opinion. But we basically help other people or like my friends, people that join the studio, to get their story produced too. And so it's basically like everyone's working on each other's stuff, and then I'm just trying to make it all happen. Everything you possibly think of that I do every day, but it's honestly really worth it. I have a really great support system, and I now have a really crazy, amazingly talented team that's with me now, who I no longer have to do everything. Now I sort of have put my trust in these great people, and I am able to calm down a bit about it and know that it's sort of taken care of in all the different projects, and I don't have to be there every 5 seconds. Even though I end up being there every 5 seconds because I do love what I'm doing. And obviously we just started, so there's not that, it's not really like a job yet. But one day when we are established, we become like like an LLC or whatever, we become like an actual animation studio. I hope that we will have like a physical office and like everything. That's obviously in a long way from now. All of us are just starting out. We just want to make the projects happen. But as we like grow our audience, as we make the projects, as we sort of figure out what the studio is all about, it's all going to come together. And I'm just super proud. It's been my dream since I was little to like have my own animation studio, not only to make the stuff, but I've always wanted to be like the leader. I love like I love like I love like having a big group of people and like we just bounce off each other and like we can create stuff, and it just like I always wanted to lead something like that. So yeah.
Right. That's wow. That's pretty inspiring, I must say. But also, it's interesting to note that you mentioned that your major role in the studio, or at least like a big part of what you do, is that you take care of the management aspect. And you mentioned that like you also did a bit of the leadership work, like even being a director. Have you done some of the other elements in the animation process? Have you ever animated yourself? Did you also like write some of the scripts, since you do aspire to like really get into writing professionally?
Oh yeah. So yeah, I mean honestly, I don't have that much time to actually do the artistic stuff of it. It's practically impossible for me to do all of it, but I do try. But yeah, I'm very particular about the script, so I actually do write a lot of it, which is it's pretty time consuming. I do write a lot of the stories, write a lot of the scenes of the episodes or of the different scripts for the short films and such. So yeah, I usually either I'm editing everything together from other people, or I've written it myself actually. So yeah, we it's a very, I wouldn't say that it's like an actual animation studio structure, but I try to make it as close as possible. And then I tend to just do everything, or I try to do everything, which is probably why I a lot of my days spent on it. But yeah, I love writing. Writing's really my passion. I really want to become a writer. I'm writing a novel as well, which that's kind of taken a back seat to all of this. But I really love writing all the different forms: screenwriting, playwriting, writing for animation, short prose. I love everything. So yeah, I love writing and like putting words together and making a sentence hundreds of times is like my biggest passion probably. And I love obviously writing scripts with everybody, writing meetings, and like it's so fun.
Wow, that really is a lot. I mean, you're writing a novel, you're running an animation studio, you're trying to do a bunch of leadership work, making sure everything is all intact with these projects. You have a very busy life, I must say. And not to mention like the addition of college as well.
Oh my gosh. I'm hoping by the time that I go back, when I'm like very dedicated to like my studies and everything, I want to make sure that I'm focused on that. I'm hoping that it'll be a little bit self-running by then, or like my team will be able to do portions of it that I wouldn't have to spend so much. So, I mean, I'm a bit worried about that, but that's in a while. That's in February when I go back. So, I mean, this gap year has really given me a chance to do all this. I wouldn't have been able to do it without it. And I sometimes I can't even believe what I'm even doing. Sometimes I feel like it's not even me, or like it's someone else who's doing it, which I guess is like imposter syndrome or whatever. But I really am proud of it when I realize, oh wait, so we did that. I just did that. I'm like, oh okay, well that's pretty cool, and I'm pretty proud of it. And I love being a part of all aspects of it, even if it's yeah, I am pretty busy, but it's sort of like exactly what I always wanted to do. And I think like this is exactly, if this does work out, this is exactly what I want to be doing. So, and I also want to give other people a chance for this to be their thing too. Like I always want, like it's not my studio, it's everybody's studio sort of. I want everybody to feel like it's theirs, and like this is something that they're making with me. So that's what I want it to be like in the future, and whenever we become legit or whatever.
Of course, like as long as you're doing what you love, then it doesn't matter how much work that you got to do. Like if you enjoy it, then like it's all worth it. But on that note, I think it's now time that we go and talk about what we are here for, and that is the project itself, Defenders of Alodia. So, can you describe to us a little bit of what Defenders of Alodia is all about?
Yeah. So Defenders of Alodia is yeah, it's me and Naya's baby. It's the best story ever. It's space heroine. She's so Rebecca Winstead is the main character. Naya originally thought of like the whole world, and then it didn't really end up happening. And then we sort of collaborated on it together, and then we like formed a big team, and then we ended up making it a part of Bulber Studios, which I involved her in. So it sort of became like a way bigger project than it was originally intended for. It was going to be a comic, but that didn't sort of work out. So we wanted it to be like an animated show, because it would really get to display like the incredible story, and I feel like in the best way possible that it can be displayed. So it's a great story. It's really about this girl, Rebecca Winstead. She has this father who moves her to this place in the middle of nowhere that's this gross house that she doesn't want to be at, and she's forced to do this move because of financial issues, and her mother is not in the picture anymore, and she doesn't really know where her mother went, and her father's very secretive about her mother and why they're moving to this house. And there is a portal put there by her one of her ancestors, like great, who basically he put this portal in their house, and the portal actually is the portal between Earth and Alodia, which is this planet. And her mother is actually part of she lived on Alodia, and her father's from Earth, so her parents are multi-planetary parents. And she basically ends up getting sucked into the portal and finds herself in Alodia, and it's a crazy story. There's this very stoic and also kind-hearted Zaid, who is sort of like her. It's a lot about her parental figures being sort of taken from her actual parental figures and put into these characters. So Zaid ends up becoming like her mother figure, while Marvin, who is this defective robot, I'm sure he's I think lots of people make fan art of him. He's so cute, but basically Marvin is this defective robot, and he sort of represents her father, and it's a lot about her relationship with her parents sort of being broadcasted through this incredible adventure. And she realizes that she has archaic energy, which is like the purest energy in the world, and she winds up in a world where there's destruction energy, there's enhancement energy, there's resurrection energy, all these different energies that were created when Alodia sort of became a planet in the first place, and she has to deal with the ramifications of the past of what's happened on Alodia, and basically protect not only Alodia from what's going on, all of this. Basically, they're living under a tyranny by this dude, Mr. Dude, Lord Vexatious, and he is the main villain of the series, and she has to basically confront that her family's past with this Lord Vexatious guy, who they have like she has a very sort of complex relationship with the villain, where he deeply resents her family, and so she's always on the run from him, and she has these powers that are way beyond his control. And obviously, it's a Black female protagonist. She is lesbian, so she is a heroine that is not always seen in the media, especially in animation. And so I just really think that it's an incredible story. I love it so much. It means the world to me and Naya and the whole team. And it has to be shown. Like, we were gonna make it happen. It's so incredible, and I'm so happy that it's part of Bulber Studios. It's one of our first projects, and it's just gorgeous. We have an amazing team. Alodia is crazy. I can't wait to show everything about Alodia. It's so hard not to explain the entire thing, but yeah, it really is about this amazing heroine, Rebecca, and her journey to find out about her family's past and basically harness her magic to protect both of the planets, and find out all the secrets of her ancestor, as well as her relationship to Lord Vexatious, who is basically this tyrant on this planet called Alodia, which is Defenders of Alodia. And yeah, it's way more complicated than that, but I'm not going to get into it. But yeah, I can't wait for it to be told. It's an amazing show. What we have planned, and it's so gorgeous and beautiful, and the animation and the characters so good, and I just love them so much, and if it gets made, which it will, they're gonna be beloved by so many people, I just know. And Rebecca's a great character. She's just amazing, and the voice actors that we have are so talented, and I'm just super excited. You probably can tell I'm containing my excitement, but Yeah, I love the show so much, and it means a lot to a lot of people. And so I really hope that it can get made. I think like no matter what, we'll figure out how to do it. But yeah, it means a lot to me and the rest of the studio. We all deeply care about it. We have like over 300 people involved in the studio, and like we have a lot of support for the Defenders of Alodia team. And I love everybody on that team. So yeah, that's basically about Defenders of Alodia. It's pretty legendary and awesome, and I'm super proud.
Yeah, I could tell that, like, not only you're very proud, but you have a lot of love for this project. That, of course, much like with what you're doing with your studio, that you have a very strong passion for it. And you have mentioned before about the fact that you would only go and select like the best of the best in terms of stories that you think would really work and that it needs to be made at your studio. So, what is it about Defenders of Alodia that really does stand out that makes you say that you need to go and create this? Like, why have Defenders of Alodia be done at your studio?
Yeah. So first of all, it's visually gorgeous. The characters are visually gorgeous. The world is visually gorgeous. The obviously what we've worked on has become like so incredible, but also it's really important because there's not really a black protagonist. I mean, there are people of color in animation, but there's never really been like this type of character, and she just deserves to have her story be told. Like I feel like it's never she deserves the spotlight, Rebecca. Like everyone on the team knows that this character deserves the spotlight, and she deserves to have her story told. And um like there's been so many animated series that sort of they don't fulfill the potential they don't fulfill the potential that they could have. And in Defenders of Lodi, we are going to and we are going to basically tell her full story. She's lovable, she's flawed, she's lovable, but she's flawed. And that's basically what we want to show, is that basically this heroine is who we want to see in animation going forward, and we don't want to see the same person over and over again. We want to see somebody new. We don't want to see the same exact thing. We don't want to see the same exact body shapes or same exact skin colors. We want to see Rebecca Winstead. So I adore her, and so many people. I feel like she would mean a lot to a lot of people. Lots of people have told me like that they feel represented in her and stuff. And me and Naya just like that just makes us really happy. And there's no way that she wouldn't change like so many people's lives. And I feel like her entire adventure and like her relationship with her parents and her relationship with Alodia and the venture that she's going to go on and her powers that she has, like, and everything to do with Alodia, like, needs to be shown, and she needs to be the protagonist in it, not just anyone. And so yeah, that's why I feel like Defenders of Alodia was why I decided to put it in the studio. We really do only accept the best of the best because we want to like stand out. We don't want to have like sort of just not looking good projects on our lineup. We want to have like the best of the best, which look like they could be actual shows. And we probably aren't going to like send them off to other studios. Like I know there's like pitches and everything, but we want to retain the creative rights to all of this because it's a slippery slope, and we don't want, even if the series would get made easier, it's not really worth losing the creative rights, and like something bad could happen to your project if you give it to somebody else. So Bullet Studios is not really allowing that to happen. We're keeping Alodia, and we want to make sure that it's taken care of the right way that we want it to be taken care of, and put it and kept in the people who really care about it, their hands. So yeah, if it does get funded, it's going to be amazing, and I hope that we actually will have our own streaming service eventually. I know that sounds super crazy, but I think we might want to have our own streaming service with just our stuff on it, like a Bullet Studio streaming service where you get to like log in and everything. Or we would likely, our first series would just be released on YouTube, or some other place like that. But we are a bit worried about losing a lot of the just everything related to it when you give it to another streaming service, or like you allow your story to be in the hands of people who maybe don't care about it as much or just use it as like a money grab. So yeah, we are a bit worried about that. So we're going to keep it as much as we can in our own hands.
So that's funny because it does lead a bit to my next question regarding about where you would want to go and release it. Because you did say, and like I could tell that you feel like it is very important that you like your studio would keep all the rights to Defenders of Alodia, or keep as much of the rights as possible. So let's say there is a scenario where Defenders of Alodia does ultimately get funded, that you do end up receiving the money that you're looking for, and that you can actually go and make the show. So ultimately, would you rather just go and upload it independently, like just put it up on YouTube? Like, I know you mentioned about having your own entire streaming service, but I can imagine that's a plan that would be like way ahead in the future. But would you rather just upload it only on YouTube, or would you want to go and consider maybe putting it up on some of the other popular streaming services like either Netflix or Disney Plus, or even on TV like Cartoon Network or the Disney Channel or anything like that?
Yeah, it really would depend on what we would lose in those situations. So it would be a case by case basis. Right now, it sort of depends on what happens with the funding. And then if that does happen, there would be a lot of thought put into it, and it would have to be very like a safe place that we're okay with Alodia being on a certain place. And I mean, that would be far in the future, but it would have to be like case by case basis where we really see where we're putting it and why we're putting it there. And of course, it's very good for like visibility and for people to be able to see the show and for it to get its attention that it deserves. But I would say it's going to depend on where we are in the future and what actually happens with it. And we just want to make sure that we still have Alodia no matter what. So yeah, that's basically that's basically the summary on that.
Okay, I completely understand. But for now, first we have to take it one step at a time and actually get the show funded. So one thing I would like to know is, why is it that you went to Kickstarter to go and crowdfund it? Why is it that you're asking the public and you're asking the internet to help go and fund this series?
Yeah, so first, I feel like asking for, obviously, crowdfunding is really difficult. It's super hard. It's a lot of just like, please help us, but it's also a way to bring in people to see the potential of the show. I feel like if you just drop a show out of nowhere and you don't have like a sort of audience that really believes in it, and you can see like when people pledge on Kickstarter or similar sites that they actually really care about it, and they're literally spending their money on making it happen. And for some reason, that just really is important to us. Obviously, crowdfunding is really like one of the only ways to gain this sort of funding without being a legitimate company. And there's other ways like other studios, they become a legitimate company and then they can apply for like grants and stuff like that. But we just started, so we're not at that stage at the moment. So right now, crowdfunding is the way to go. Or eventually, we are going to hopefully have enough of an audience and have enough like on Patreon or have enough on different social medias that we have that will hopefully like be able to fund us. I mean, we just started, so most of us are here as a volunteer or like here to just help out and here because it's like our big project. So we want to eventually be able to be self-sufficient and be able to fund everything. But that's going to be far down the line. And right now, yeah, we just thought that Alodia would do well because, first of all, it's sort of it hasn't had that long in existence, and it's become super popular. So I'm super proud about that. But we want to make sure that it can actually get funded and that we have the actual episodes, which is so beyond difficult to make. So yeah, I hope yeah, I think that it's going to happen when it happens, and we're going to make it happen when we can, depending on the circumstances. And right now, circumstances are crowdfunding for now. If that doesn't happen, then we have to reevaluate that, I think.
Okay, so do you currently have a plan B in case it doesn't get funded? Like, do you have another option of what you can do with the money in order to actually go and make Defenders of Alodia?
Well, we're thinking of just doing it out of our own doing it. It would just be a much slower and more tumultuous process. And it would be a much smaller team and everything. But yeah, we would just do it out of doing it with no funding, I guess. It's really hard, but we would.
So basically, Defenders of the Kickstarter is meant to go and like speed up the process to help bring Defenders of Alodia to life.
Yeah, I mean, it would be an incredible thing to have like a great team, and honestly, we think the quality might be it would obviously be a lot better if we had funding. It would take many years to do it without funding, I think, and it would be extremely difficult and might not really happen. We're very worried about that. So mainly, funding would allow us to make it a legit show, as well as the highest quality that it can possibly be, with an incredible team and like professionalism, and it look like a real show, which I think it would if we just did it, but it would take several. I don't even know if it would work out, just because I don't know. I think it would be incredibly difficult, which, you know, it's a pretty ambitious show, so we really do need the funding if we're going to have a really good team that can do things in a way that it doesn't take like 5,000 years. So yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it is animation after all. Like, it's a long process. Yes. So, in regards to the Kickstarter, going back to that, I'm sure that there are some people out there who definitely would be interested in helping you out with Defenders of Alodia. However, I'm sure they're also pretty curious on what's in it for them. What would they get if they would go and help fund Defenders of Alodia? So, can you describe to us some of the rewards that you would be offering?
Yeah, so we have tons of rewards. Basically, you can get access to tons of different things that we have going on. So we are going to make possibly comics that would only be available to people who pledge. We would have opportunity to have producer credit on the actual show. There's Discord access to our private channels. You can talk to us. There's storyboard downloads. There's live streams of production, so people can watch the animation happen. There's also like the private screenings, so we would have the ability for fans to pledge, fans who help out, to be a part of private screenings of the episodes with the creators, with the people who work on the show. We would have access to the official art book that we have, so everyone would see basically how we made the show, which we're working on the art book. We also have the soundtrack downloads. We have the ability to see your character or you in as a cameo shot in the show. So we would literally make a little cameo shot of your character, your chosen character, depending on what reward tier that you choose. And there's also, obviously, there's like this opportunity to meet the creators personally. So we also have the opportunity to meet me and Naya, meet other animators or background artists or illustrators on the team. And there's also character biographies, character references, in-depth character information that is just for fans of the show, for people who help out with the show. So, and that's only a little bit. We're gonna most likely we'll have posters. If we reach our goal, we're going to be able to do posters for all fans. We're going to be able to do hoodies, stickers, pins that would only be available for people who help out. So yeah, I mean, I think I really want a Defenders of Alodia hoodie. So
Yeah, you definitely have a lot of plans for those rewards. I mean, like it really feels like when you back up your project, you get a lot of bang for your buck, especially like with all the other stuff you mentioned, like even the physical stuff, like the pins, the hoodie, the posters, and stuff like that.
but yeah, I think it really is worth it, honestly, to get even to just get a. I really want that Defenders of Lily poster, or even like we also might do mugs. We also might do hats. We also might do like little character plushies or character figurines. We have some plushies in the works of the main characters, which is so cute.
Okay, wow, that definitely sounds exciting. And Hallie, may I say thank you for this opportunity to have this chat. And I do have one more question that I would like to go and ask you. I'm sure there are many people watching this right now who would aspire to be in your position where they would want to go and run their own studio, or maybe one day have their own animated series brought to life, or maybe even work at Boldbird to bring their animated ideas to life. So, do you have any advice that you would like to give to the audience? Something that, like a word of wisdom to go and express to any aspiring animation studio owners or aspiring animation leaders out there like yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I am so new to all of this, so I don't know if my wisdom would be so absolutely wise, but I will try. I would say give other people open doors just like other people give you open doors. So set up opportunities and set up help for other people because they'll do the same for you. And make sure that you're treating other people good. Don't People are so awful and take advantage of artists, and that's not right, and that's not it makes a horrible environment for in the animation industry, which the animation industry is known for having like little pay and people working crazy hours to make the series. And I think at the end of the day, if you make a series and you and the team behind it did not have a fun time or did not are not friends at the end of it, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And I really do think that helping other people get their dreams to happen really helps you get your dreams to happen, and it just feels good. Like what's wrong? Like, people should help each other more. And the art industry is so like cutthroat and ruthless and frankly stressful. And I think that helping other people get their dreams is important, as equally as important as you getting your dreams to happen. And it really is going to help you on your own way. And I really would say having a dedicated team that cares about the projects, and it doesn't matter how long it takes. People that care about the projects, and then having sort of dedication that it doesn't care about mistakes, doesn't care about setbacks, and you still get on the horse after you fall, because there's a lot of stress involved in it, especially when you're sort of in a leadership or management place that I am. You really have to be as stable as you can for other people, because it really is a crazy whirlwind of a ride when you're trying to make an animated series and trying to form an animation studio. So I think it's pretty crazy, and I would say people should just support each other, and that's usually what works to make everyone go forward. And I think that's really what we're missing in a lot of different situations. And I want to make sure that Boldbird does that, because I want to make sure that Boldbird is a place where, even if maybe you don't have a lot of experience professionally, or you haven't, quote, made it as an artist, or you don't have a big audience, or maybe you didn't go to college for art or film or something, you can still have an opportunity for your series or your show or your idea to be done. And that's just super important to me, because not everybody has the same opportunities. And I just feel like you helping someone else out is going to help you, and it just makes a better environment. And honestly, for me, a lot of it is environment and the feeling that you're in when you're working with your team. And if everybody else doesn't care about it, then it's not actually worth it for me. And it's only fun if everybody else is having fun. And at the end of the day, the show is only going to be as good as amazing as I think the team is. And if the team doesn't feel supported, if this team doesn't feel like they're a part of something, then it sort of ruins it all. So I think making everyone feel like they're a part of it and that this is their work and that this is what we're all doing together, as well as making a environment for other people to feel comforted and feel like they're a part and not that they're included, as well as like their ideas are heard. I think that's just super important for me specifically, and I think it would be important for other people who possibly want to do the same thing. I also would say don't try not to be doing a lot of other things if you're doing this. I would say make sure that you manage your time and try to stay collected. And no matter how big it gets, just know that you can do it, and it's not impossible. And there are ways to do things that seem like incredibly difficult and that seem not unable to be overcome. So I think that's one of the lessons that I learned, and I'm still learning everything. I'm still a sophomore in college, but I'm learning, and I am also figuring things out. So I'm very excited to see what other people have to do, have to show the world as well. So always excited to see new stuff, and always there to support other creators and such.
That is amazing. Well, Hallie, thank you so much for this opportunity for chatting with us in regards to Defenders of Alodia. I'm definitely excited after hearing all that you've talked about this project, and I could tell you're very passionate about what you're doing with your studio and with this project, and I do hope to see that your goal is going to be met in Kickstarter.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and so thank you so much for speaking to me about this. It means a lot to my team and myself. So yeah.
You're very welcome. I love to do everything I can to help out artists, animators, and people who want to get into the animation. So I just want to do my little part on it.
Awesome. Well, I think that you're amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And also thank you for watching, and I hope you go onto Kickstarter to go and support Defenders of Alodia so that one day we can all go and visit Alodia and see what it's all about. So thank you so much for watching once again, and until next time, see you later, dudes!